Hey guys, it's Stanley here, and I wanted to do a focus on the hamstrings and the calves, the backs of our legs. It's a point that I think 90% of the students I teach in yoga have a lot of stiffness in the backs of their legs. So I think it's an issue for a lot of people, especially if you're runners, joggers, bikers, super athletic type. We just tend to get tight back there. So I want to show you a couple different poses that you can do at home. And it's not just about rounding your back to touch your toes, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's warm up our calves first. And I always like to give a little shout out to my teacher, Erin Ehlers of Yoga on the Hill Kittery, because 90% of what I teach I've learned from her. So I always like to give her a little shout out to her. So yoga blanket or thick bath towel is excellent. So what we'll do is we'll roll it into a nice thick roll. So this is a decent thickness, and we're gonna put it right down on the floor here. That wasn't a very good roll. Let's try that again. We want to make sure it's nice and put together. You don't want any of the layers kind of uneven or flying about. Let's see, I'm not doing a very good job. Yikes, Amanda. It's like I've never done this before. Maybe I'll do it on the floor and that'll be easier. Ah, that's what it was. Okay, so make sure I have it where you can see it. Excellent. Okay, so I have a nice thick blanket roll here, and I'm going to turn around so you can see the side view of this roll. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my feet and I'm going to step it right in the middle of the blanket roll. And the other foot is going to come actually right off to the side, pretty much at hips width distance here. So both feet are at hips width distance. You're kind of in that mountain pose, that standing pose. And that, of course, first foot, I've got my right foot up here right now, is pressing at the midpoint of the top of this blanket roll. And we're keeping both legs straight, and we're noticing if we're rocking one hip off to the side or if we're leaning to one side or the other to kind of lessen the stretch we're getting on the back of the calf. And maybe you're noticing that you're putting more pressure on the inside or the outside of your foot. Try to find an equal balance between the outer ball or your baby ball of your toe, your baby toe, and the big ball of your big toe. Try to find that evenness. Great. From here, this is a decent stretch for me here, and this might be a lot for you. So you can stay right here, or especially if you have a wall nearby, this is a little bit of a balancing pose here. You can step one foot forward over the blanket, and of course that's making you stretch the calf even more so. The final piece would be bending into that right leg any amount. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm feeling a really deep stretch just as is. And notice, you can see I'm leaning forward here. Try to keep your shoulders over the hips. We don't want anything going forward or backward. We want to all get it into the back of the leg here. And I'm just going to step on back, and I'm going to do the other side, just so I'm not out of whack here. So I'm stepping my left foot. In fact, I might want to replump my blanket in between sides. And then I'll step my left foot in the middle. My right foot comes to the opposite side of the blanket. So again, I have that Uttanasana mountain pose stance. And this is just such a great stretch. So really trying to, again, shoulders over hips, hips over ankles. We're not twisting in the torso here or the hips, straight ahead. And we're trying to find evenness through the balls of the feet. You can maybe even lift the toes and spread them wide and press them back in to the blanket. If you want to go further, again, you step forward of the blanket any amount, and then of course you can always add that knee bend and kind of a baby lunge, but I'm staying right here, shoulders, hips over that back, ankle here, and knee. And again, both legs are straight, and we're not swiveling and we're not leaning. And then we'll step on back. So that's kind of to warm up the calf area. And now the other piece I want to do, and actually I forgot one of my props. I'll be right back. The other piece I want to do is using a wall and using a chair. So what we want to do here is we're using the wall to figure out how low we need to go. So often when we're doing forward folds, or Uttanasana, what it's called in Sanskrit, people are just obsessed with wanting to reach their toes. So they're rounding their back, they're reaching, and they're going, they're putting a lot of pressure on their vertebrae because of this rounded position, in this forward hunching position. And doesn't this look really similar to maybe if you put a phone in my hand, or a computer screen, or a steering wheel? This is what we do all day long. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to keep the heart open, keep the spine elongated. So to begin, again, we have our feet at hips width distance. We're standing straight and tall. There's a little bit of space in between the wall and you, maybe 3 inches or so. We're all different, we all have different dimensions of back sides, etc. So it might be slightly different. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first just put my hands on my hips, roll my shoulders back and down a couple of times, feel length out the top of my head, feel how it really feels in my body to have a straight, elongated spine for the moment. And then I'm going to begin to tip at the hips until my back and my butt, my bottom, literally touches the wall. From here, I might have to wiggle my toes out a little bit so I don't feel like I'm going to face plant into the chair. But I'm going to continue to keep my back straight, keep my heart open, and continue the descent of leading with the sit bones, the little butt bones that are touching and they're going up the wall. I'm feeling them drag, drag, drag. And it might be at this point that you begin to feel a little rounding coming to try to get further. Please back it on up, straighten the back, straighten the heart, and then just go ahead and grab the seat of the chair. Maybe this is a great place for you to stop. If you feel your hamstrings are a little bit more open, why don't you go ahead and flip that chair around. Again, you're using the contact of the sit bones to the wall to not cheat yourself out of a better hamstring stretch. So we're gliding them up the wall, glide, glide, glide. It's still moving, still moving, still moving. Maybe your hands reach the rim of the chair the whole time. Whatever point that you stop, whatever part of the chair you use, make sure that you're not just collapsing into it, right? We want to keep the heart open. We want to press out so we're still getting that length. And even if you feel like you're at your max with your hamstrings and the sit bones reaching further up the wall, just imagine you can tip them back further. You're trying to glide the sit bones up the wall. Maybe you come onto forearms. I can still feel mine gliding a little bit. So wherever you are, I'm getting a really deep hamstring stretch here, so I don't need to go further. This is feeling good. Wherever you are, you just want to be really honest with yourself that you're not rounding the spine to get this, because it's not going to help your spine, and you're really just stealing from your hamstrings, which is what you want to be stretching to begin with. So from here, you could of course straighten your arms up if you've gone this far. Hands come to the hips, and then you slowly come on out and shake those legs. So I love the wall because it doesn't let you cheat. It doesn't let you lie. In the middle of the room when you're just trying to, oh no, my back is straight. It's totally straight. It is. And I can, it's good. And it's like, no. You can't really, you can't feel in your body as well because there's no contact. You can't tell the difference between leading with your spine really, and then leading with the hips and the sit bones and the tipping of the pelvis this way versus this way. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you. Maybe you haven't tried this version of forward folding hamstring stretching before. So have fun with it. Let me know if you have questions, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, good night, guys.